All right, in this video we're going to try to clarify some issues with language and algebra and arithmetic. Just a few pieces here. So let's start with a sum. A sum is what? Do you know? Well, technically a sum is the result, oopsies, the result, that's an E, the result of adding numbers together. So, what is, if they ask us to write the sum of each of these three things, see if you can go ahead and write those out. Go ahead and pause the video and try each one of those. All right, what is the sum of 3 and 4? Well, 3 plus 4 is 7, so the result of adding 3 and 4 is 7, which means the sum is 7. What is the sum of negative 7 and 2? Well, it would be the result of adding negative 7 and 2 together, so negative 7 plus 2, which is actually going to be negative 5. If you struggle with that addition, we're going to be working on that in the next few days. All right, how about the sum of two numbers is 9? Okay, this one's a little bit different. All right, so they tell us the sum of two numbers. They don't tell us what those numbers are, though. So we've talked before about the idea that when we have values that are unknowns in math, we can use variables for those values. So we're going to go ahead and say the sum of two numbers, pick variables for those, maybe x plus n, is 9 means that sum, that result, is 9. So that one's a little bit different because of that word is. We know we have some kind of comparison between the sum and the number 9. And in this case, the comparison says that they're equal to each other. All right. Here's a weird question. Does the sum, or does the idea of sum depend on order? And what I mean by that question is the sum of 6 and 2 different from the sum of 2 and 6? I want you to take a moment to answer that, and we'll talk about it in class. So pause the video, write an answer there, and then unpause the video and we'll move on to the next little section. When you get to class, I expect this to be answered. All right, welcome back. For the next little bit, I want to talk about the idea of difference. What is the difference between 7 and 10? Yeah, you probably got that one, right? The difference between 7 and 10 is 3. So now my question to you is, how do you get that difference? And really there are two ways that we can think about it. One of them that's a little bit lazier is to use absolute value. We might want to say, well, for difference we just use subtraction, right? But if you just use subtraction all by itself, you might do something like, say, 7 minus 10. But does 7 minus 10 equal 3? It doesn't. It equals negative 3. So what we can do, though, is say that it's the subtraction inside of absolute value, because that would give us the absolute value of negative 3, and the absolute value of negative 3 is 3. So that's one way we can find the difference between 7 and 10. If we want to just use subtraction, we can. We just have to be careful, right? The order matters now. We can't do 7 minus 10. We would have to do 10 minus 7. So if we want to find absolute value without using absolute values, we have to do the greater number minus the lesser number. see if you can find each of these three differences and try to think about it in this way that just uses subtraction. Go ahead and pause the video and try each one of these, and then unpause the video to check your work. All right, let's look at the difference between 7 and 3. If I want to use this greater number minus lesser number, I would have 7 minus 3, which is 4. So the difference between 7 and 3 is 4. This one's a little trickier. The difference between negative 7 and 3, right? You could count on a number line and find that negative 7 and 3 are 10 apart, which means the difference between negative 7 and 3 is 10. For the values that we're working with here, or for the methods we're working with here, which is the greater number? Is it negative 7 or is it positive 3? Right? It turns out that 3 is greater than negative 7, so since 3 is the greater number, and we want to have greater number minus the lesser number, we would have 3 minus negative 7. Now we haven't talked about simplifying this yet too much in class, but I'll just go ahead and run through this. Since the negative of negative 7 is the same thing as positive 7, we can think of 3 minus negative 7 as being the same thing as 3 plus 7, and 3 plus 7 is that difference of 10 that we know we should get. Right? So lastly, negative 7 and negative 3. Well, negative 7 and negative 3 are still just 4 units apart, just like positive 7 and positive 3. So let's see how this works. Which of these should go first in our subtraction? Is it negative 7 or is it negative 3? Which one is greater? Well, it turns out that negative 3 is actually greater than negative 7 because it's more positive than negative 7, even though it's still negative. It's close, it's further along towards the positive end. So we want to have greater number, negative 3, minus the lesser number, negative 7. Again, same idea here with the minus and the negative. Minus negative 7 is the same thing as plus 7. So we have negative 3 plus 7, which is positive 4. The difference between negative 7 and negative 3 is 4. Fun side question to ask your English teacher. In the way that we've talked about them here, are sum and difference examples of nouns, adjectives, or verbs? Answer this question on your own, and when you get to class, see if your group mates agree with you. For now, though, we're going to flip to the next page. Let's talk about less than. This is one of the phrases that messes students up more than any other phrase in arithmetic language. Let's look at the quick story. Tim starts the day with $9. Tim spends $7. How many dollars does Tim have? I think we all kind of can get this one right, probably without doing a whole lot of work, right? We recognize that Tim has $2. All right? How are we getting that answer? Well, we're saying that Tim has $2 because we know that 9 minus 7 is equal to 2. Okay? So which of these two options fits that scenario better? Tim has $2 because 9 less than 7 is 2, or Tim has $2 because 7 less than 9 is 2. Pause the video if you need to think for a moment and choose an answer. Then unpause it to continue the conversation. All right, so does 9 less than 7 sound right? If you have 9 less than 7, you'd have to get rid of all 7, and then you'd have to get rid of more stuff to get rid of 9 things. So turns out this phrase is not going to be correct. Instead, Tim has $2 because 7 less than 9 is 2. Now, this might be a little bit weird for some of us because we know up here that the way that we get this answer is by doing 9 minus 7 equals 2. So here's the tricky thing with less than. To get 7 less than 9, we have to subtract 7 from the 9. Right? So there's this thing that's happening with the language where the order of these numbers changes. 7 less than means we're going to do something minus 7. And the thing that we're doing minus 7 to is 9. Take a moment to write each of these subtractions using this. Write each subtraction statement using the words less than. I can talk good. Well, I can speak well, just in case your English teacher yells at me. So here we have 6 minus 4 equals 2. Pause the video and see if you can write one or all of these on your own. And then unpause the video to see if you agree with my answers. All right, welcome back from that short pause. For 6 minus 4 equals 2, all right, is this going to be 4 less than 6 or 6 less than 4? Well, 6 less than 4 isn't 2. This one's going to be 4 less than 6 is 2. Right? If you got that one right, go ahead and keep watching. If you got that one wrong, pause the video, make sure you understand it, rewind it if you need to relook at what we talked about up here, and then retry these next two. All right, if you paused it, welcome back. Otherwise, glad to keep going with you. Here we have 9 minus 3 equals 6. How would we write this? Well, we would write it as 3 less than 6. Just kidding. Less than 9 is, that's supposed to be a word, 6. Again, pause it if you need to or keep going. A minus B equals C. Again, we have to think about that switching around of these, the changing of the order of these things around the minus. This is going to be B less than A is C. B less than A is C. All right. Again, if you feel like you're going to need help with this, make a mark here so you know that you should talk to your group mates about it. Right now, I'm going to ask you to try to write each of these statements using math symbols. So pause the video, attempt each one of these, and then come back. All right, welcome back from that short pause. 3 less than x, is this going to be 3 minus x or x minus 3? It turns out it's going to be x minus 3. With less than, and also with the phrase more than, we have that changing of the order of things. How about x less than 3? Is that going to be x minus 3 or 3 minus x? Well, it turns out it's going to be x less than means something minus x. We have to take x away from something, so that something we're taking it away from is 3. M less than n means we're taking m away from something, so we're subtracting m. What we're subtracting it from is n. All right, last little bit of our conversation, I promise. We're almost there. Write each statement using words. Each answer must have the word less somewhere in it. So I want you to write this with words, and I want you to write this with words. But over here, I want you to be careful. Don't use the word minus. I want the word less to be somewhere in your answer. Pause the video, and then come back and spend some more time with me. All right, welcome back. You should have some words written in both of these boxes now. Here's how we write each of these. This one says 5 is less than 7. This one says 7 less than 5. So here we have a comparison between two numbers, and here we have a subtraction. What is the big difference between these two things in terms of how we write these out? Well, the answer is that when we're comparing things, we're going to see the word is in there. So this word is a signifier that we're either using less than, or a less than symbol like that, or a is greater than symbol, or a is equal to symbol. Whereas if we just have less than, or if we just have more than, and we don't have the word is, then we're talking about subtraction or addition. So the difference between comparison, like we have there on the left, and addition slash subtraction, boy, that blank is a little too small, huh? The big difference between these two things verbally is going to be the word is. And if I had to say there's one most important part of all of this lesson, it's this. It's recognizing this difference. So do me a favor, and to practice with this idea, I'd like you to write each of these things as an algebraic statement, pause the video, write all 6 of those, and then come back. Go ahead and pause now. All right, did you do them all, or you just keep going? You need to pause it and do them. All right, you got it now? You did them? You're done? Cool. Let's take a look. If at any point you get one of these wrong, pause it. Make sure that you adjust any of the rest of your answers as you might need to. 3 less than 4. Is this a comparison or is this a subtraction? Well, we don't see the word is, so it's going to be a subtraction. Is it going to be 3 minus 4 or 4 minus 3? It's 3 less than, which means we're subtracting 3 from something. So this is going to be 4 minus 3. Here we have 3 is less than 4. So now are we talking about a comparison or a subtraction? Well, here because of the word is, we're talking about a comparison. So we're going to use that comparison operator of is less than. And we've got 3 is less than 4. X less than 9. Is this a comparison or an addition-subtraction piece? It's going to be an addition-subtraction piece because we don't have the word is. So x less than means we're going to be subtracting x from something else. And what we're subtracting it from is 9. 9 less than x. This is again a subtraction because we don't see the word is. And it's going to be a subtraction where we're subtracting 9 from something. So we have x minus 9. How about x is less than 9? Now, because we have this word is here, we know we're looking at a comparison. So, let's see here. We've got is less than, and we're saying x is less than 9. How about 9 is less than x? Again, because of that word is, we know we're looking at a comparison. So what the comparison is 9. Let's go ahead and try that again. Is 9 is less than x. All right, we're done.